Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. And we are here today to talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 13, GBO or GTFO. Before we do that, I'm going to say because I didn't review last week's, it was just a lot. It was a lot. Was it good? Yeah, it was entertaining, but it was a lot. I felt like Giselle is ridiculous with the whole let me invite them over being shady, and then it seems like the whole party was just to shit on Wendy. And then when Wendy gets mad, they try to put her out. I didn't get it, and I didn't like it. It was just really ridiculous. I did, however, like a Skylar. Y'all know I'm not here for a Skylar normally, but she was, talking her shit, and I appreciated that, especially when she told me, "You need to shut up with your whole ass." Got my entire life because Mia, ill. All right, let's get started on this week's episode. So the episode opens with Mia and G telling the kids that they're about to go out of town. They're packing. Got baby girl riding on the little suitcase. Super cute. She's a cutie. The son is crying because he doesn't want to stay with grandma. This is their first time leaving their kids with the grandma, which was G's idea. And Mia's telling G about her issue that she had with Candace, and Candace calling her mom low budget. And she's like, I told you that her video shoot was low budget, right? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, girl, that's why she called your mom low budget, period. Period. You cannot tell somebody how far to go. Once you go there, you can't tell somebody how far to go. I'm sorry. And yes, we do know that Candace's mouth is ridiculous. It's funny to me. It's funny to me. I just wish Candace had those hands to back it up. But anyway, back to the show. So G is just like, listen, that's y'all's problem. And he's like, I don't really like these things. I'm just going to support you. And she's like, yeah, because once you get there, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, yeah, once he gets there, he is next level, which is kind of gross. So he says, yeah, I'm just going to have fun. So all the arguing, I will leave to you ladies. So now we're with Candace and Chris, and they are having a little lunch or a little charcuterie out on the patio. And when she comes out, he's drinking his, what's that, Maker's Mark or whatever. She's like, oh, is it drink time already? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, they are really running with this narrative of Chris drinking all day. But I mean, I guess he is, because we be seeing him. It's all right, Chris. Do you. Listen, COVID, okay? COVID. So they're talking about how Ashley wants to get this distro deal, and it's basically where they do the marketing. She has all of the creative say-so or whatever, yada yada. No one cares. She says she has no backup plan for the music. Okay. And then she tells Chris what happens at the party, and she's like, yeah, and Mia proceeded to call my video low budget, so I call her mom low budget. And he just kind of laughed and closed his eyes and like lowered his head like, oh, Jesus. She says, and then it all went left. And he's like, yeah, I wonder why. Chris is well aware of his wife's mouth. She tells Chris about the couples trip, said they never been on a couples trip. I guess on this franchise, they never been on a couples trip. Really? Interesting. He says, yeah, is Dre going? Skylar's husband. And apparently they went on a double date last week or whatever. He said he likes Dre. Dre is real calm. And Chris says, yeah, I'm probably the loudest one. And then he goes, oh, except the other guy. Talking about Michael. And yeah, we all know Michael. Next, we have Ashley and Robin. And Ashley comes over to Robin's townhouse with the baby. And baby's a little fussy. Ashley's like, oh, let me just pop a boob in his mouth, use it as a pacifier. And Robin's just looking the whole time. I'm like, Robin, you ain't supposed to be looking like that. Jesus. She's like, oh, man, Ashley. Oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, you are enjoying Robin. It's okay. So, of course, they get to talking about Wendy, and Robin is like, oh, she's an asshole. She really came for me. If I don't agree with every little thing, then she comes for me. And I'm like, no, if you shut the hell up sometimes and stop trying to defend Giselle and jump in every time, it is absolutely always 2-on-1. Robin will never let Giselle just speak for herself. She never will. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, take whatever it is Wendy is giving you. And I'm actually happy that Wendy is doing this because the way Robin is talking about it seems like it's hurting her feelings. And good, Robin. She don't like you. I don't like you either. No, I said I wasn't going to say anymore. She's not about you. I'm not about you either. So Ashley says, yeah, I thought we were all going to go and maybe, kind of make up and everything. But then I get the text message, and then we shoot to Giselle getting her hair done by her hairstylist. And she's reading the text before she sends it. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel welcome coming because of the rude invite. And I'm like, hold on. Hold on. Didn't Giselle just send out a rude invite? Weren't they just talking about how Giselle was like, haters and supporters and haters or something like that, and some people are like, are you kidding me? All right, so next we're over with Wendy and Eddie, and he comes home, got a fresh haircut, getting ready for the trip. She's packing. The kids are happy that grandma is coming to take care of them. I'm like, look at that. And then he asked, well, who's coming on the trip? And she says, well, I don't know, because we have this group text and it's called Flossie Posse. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's a bunch of middle-aged women trying to get our groove back. And I'm like, it's not exactly, you're not trying to get your groove back. You're married, ma'am. So Wendy tells him about the text from Giselle, and then she said she replied in a very classy and zen win way. And basically she was just saying, listen, we all have fractured relationships. We're coming here. Let's lead with love and positivity. Hope to see you all there. And then we go back to Ashley and Robin, and Ashley says, oh, and then Miss Dixon replies, thanks for coming to the shady party. Enjoy your trip, ladies. Basically letting them know that they're not coming. Who cares? Who gives a shit, really? So Ashley tells Robin, that hurt my feelings. She's like, why? It's not your party. It's not your getaway. She's like, because Michael's not coming. He's going to stay with the kids. And then Robin lets us know that Michael doesn't really fool with Candace and Chris. And my whole thing is, no, he doesn't fool with them because they don't fool with him. And Chris was about to beat that ass. So no, he's not trying to come and be around Chris. And then Robin's like, yeah, I just don't feel comfortable around Wendy. I can't be myself. I can't speak my mind. And I'm like, you have no mind. Your mind is Giselle's mind. It's attached. So what are you talking about? And she's basically like, well, she just doesn't like me. And that's why I say it seems like it hurts when what is this girl's name? Robin's feelings, because she keeps making little comments about Wendy just not liking her, and now she doesn't feel welcome. And I'm like, isn't that the same exact thing Giselle said? Uh-huh. Y'all, now we at Karen's house, and she's telling Ray to come and help her with the bag down the stairs. And I'm like, last week, wasn't they telling him to help with this big old box of candles out the trunk, and he almost died? Leave him alone. He's like 90. Leave him alone and quit asking him to do manual labor. They definitely need some kind of help. I'm not even trying to be funny, but she asked Ray to do way too much stuff for his age, or maybe she's keeping him young. I don't know. Looks like he has back issues. I'm not clowning him. I do too. But he's a super old man, and she needs to stop asking him to do stuff like he's the butler or like he's 25 years old. Give Ray a break. But in his defense, he gets it done every time. We cannot say that Ray don't get it done. He get it done. It may take a little while, and there may be a whole lot of moaning and grunting, but he get it done. So Ray was asking about who's going to be there. She says pretty much the same people that were at our love party. He says, okay, that was a good mix. And, everybody got along. He says, but what about Michael? And she's like, yeah, I don't think Michael's coming. And I'm sure he was relieved because Ray don't fool with Michael either. And then he's like, what about Juan? She says, and then in the confessional, she's like, yeah, the way Robin was thumbing herself at the other trip, I think she's taking care of herself. I don't think Juan is coming. And I'm like, I think you're right. Juan don't fool with Robin or Real Housewives of Potomac. He just don't. So finally, Ashley arrives because she's leaving with Karen, and Ray is looking, and he's like, you don't look like no new mommy. She got on these faux leather pants or whatever. She look cute. I love how Ashley ain't even trying this year. She's just not. She just gave birth, and she's wearing gym shoes to everything. She's not trying to come in heels and then change later and all that for the camera. No, ma'am. She's just coming in her gym shoes. And y'all know I don't see it for Ashley, so that was a compliment. Yeah, so they get in the car. We find out that Ray is coming tomorrow. He's not coming tonight. He said, listen, his schedule is full. He is booked and busy, and he need like 3 weeks before he can go somewhere. He needs to plan things, and this was kind of last minute. So he just penciled y'all in. He'll be there tomorrow. Okay, right? What Ray be doing? So Ray walks them to the car, and when they get in, Ashley pulls out this big old photo of the kids. Well, actually, it's a whole family photo, so she's in it too. But she's like, Michael says hi, and then the music is like, and Ray says, "Oh, okay, look at that." And I'm like, it was so awkward. This whole show should have been called Awkward because this entire episode was filled with awkward silences, awkward looks, awkward everything. All right, so we are now arriving, and Wendy and Eddie are first. And y'all, as soon as she got out the truck, her wig was about to fly off, and hilarious. She's like, "Oh my God, my wig!" It was looking like, get it together. So we have this whole thing of Eddie having to carry both bags, and there was lots of stairs, and yeah, Wendy doesn't care. She has on her red bottoms and her Balenciaga jacket. She looks cute. But she's not caring about him carrying all those bags. She's not helping. All right, so as they walk in, she's saying how she likes it, and they're giving us a view of it, and I didn't like it, you guys. It was kind of antique-ish and all that, and I'm not mad at like antique furniture and the look, but the whole house, yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, they all liked it, so that's all that matters. Next to arrive would be G and Mia, and he's like, "Oh, valet." And he's like, "Nobody's coming to carry our luggage." She's like, "Well, maybe they have someone that's going to come out because I'm not carrying shit." And I'm like, "Oh, y'all, I don't like these two." I said I'm not going to say that. I'm not here for these two. I'm not feeling these two. I'm not about these two. So Wendy is showing them around, and she's like, "Where's your bags and everything?" And G is like, "Oh, we were waiting for the concierge or whatever to come and get it and unpack it for us." And he's like handing the keys to Eddie, and I guess it's a joke. It wasn't funny to me, but they laughed at it. Okay. All right, so Wendy and Eddie took it in stride. They laughed about it and everything. And Wendy, in her confessional, says, "Oh, G is a good time. We gonna enjoy G." And I'm like, "Oh, but wait, there's more." So here we go. Let's start. They say, "Let's go to the bar and take shots." All right, enter the real G. So they start off with the Grey Goose because it's chill, taking shots of the goose. And, G really liked it. He said, "Listen, want another one?" Eddie was like, "Yeah, let's do another one." So they do another one. And like I said, G is about to come alive, but it's very cringy. This whole scene with G was very, very cringy. Very. So Mia tells us that G has many layers. Oh, we see. She says at home he's very serious, but when it's time to have fun, they work hard, but they play even harder. So then Mia's telling them how they were very nervous leaving their mom or her mom with the kids for the first time. Wendy's like, "Why is this your mom's first time watching your kids?" And she didn't mean anything by it because she didn't know anything that was going on with the mom. And when she said it, she is like, "Oops." And Mia's like, "No, oops." So she kind of tells Wendy about the background of her mom and her not really growing up with her mom. And now at this time, we see G still taking lots of shots, and he is mixing dark with light. We see that. We see you, G. So after she tells Wendy, Wendy says, "Okay, so that makes what Candace said a little different. Do you feel some kind of way about what she said about your mom?" And she's like, "Well, I just think of Candace as a spoiled brat because I would never talk about someone's mom and I would never call anyone out their names." And then in the next token, coming up, we're going to see that she calls them broke bitches. So Mia is just a liar. So again, very briefly, we have Karen and Ashley on the way, and they're talking about the wedding. She says she's planning everything, Karen, and she says, "Listen, everybody is invited." So she wants to show the women that she is trying to move everything along. So big of her. Because according to Robin, Wendy is not invited to the wedding that will never happen with her and Juan. So very big of you, Karen, to invite everyone to your wedding. So they show a flashback of them at a cake tasting and Karen telling him that she want to invite Giselle, and he's like, "I'm fine with that, but who's she gonna bring? The hairdresser?" And I'm like, shade. That's why she always says "over your dead body" about everything, Ray. Because you have a slick mouth. You really do. You are just like your wife. But I give it to you. That was a good read. It was funny. Next to arrive is Chris and Candace, and they walk in, and the first person Candace sees is Mia, and she's like, "Where is everybody?" And Mia just kind of fans her away, like, "They're in there," and Candace is like, "Ugh." First person I see is the Jolly Green Giant Mia. She says she's gonna crack the foundation with her big ass feet. When I tell you I died, Candace is her mouth. Oh my god, her mouth. So they still at the bar about to take shots, and it's hilarious because Candace walks in and her and Chris know exactly what they want to pour. They're not playing around with, oh, are we doing tequila? Are we doing this or that? They get right to the shits and start pouring their shots. So Wendy tells them that there's a theme and it is good vibes only, GVO. And then Candace says, yeah, because if not, you can GTOF. And you guys, when I tell you I died because you can hear G in the background, like, get the fuck out. Oh my God, I got. I'm like, he is so done. He is done for. And he's an idiot. So, yeah, I would have got a kick out of just laughing at him. Yeah, Wendy starts dropping it like it's hot. Eddie is looking at her like, okay. He's smiling, but he's like, really? And G pulls out a 20 and says, I need change for a 20 so I can make it rain. So inappropriate. So inappropriate. So they pan back to Karen and Ashley in the car, and they're talking about how they like G. He's real chill. And then we go back to the bar, and G is telling them, yeah, I'm a strip club connoisseur. Yeah, I got my life out of this. It was very, very awkward and cringy, but when I tell you I was cracking up and I was like, ugh, at the same time, the same damn time. So anyway, he says he's a strip club connoisseur, and we have Candace saying, yes, we know. He says, I have no interest in strippers. I just go for her. I go because she wants to go, and she looks around and says, do you like her? Do you like her? And then Candace is in the confessional saying, yeah, why would you need strippers when you brought a whole stripper home? So what do you need them for? Yeah, so basically G let us know that they like to bring people home because Mia picks out who she wants and then she's like, yeah, that one right there. And I'm like, I don't know if anyone else caught that, but that was basically what he's saying. And Mia's like, yeah, he likes white girls. And he's like, what? White girls? And he's like, yeah, I like the white girls. Where the white girls at? And he starts doing this pumping stuff. Eddie looks around like, what are we talking about here? And everybody's face is just like, oh my God. And Chris is like, it's okay. I like the chocolate. I love black girls. So basically, like, you can have a preference. Eddie says he loves his chocolate. And I'm like, yes, Eddie, we like that about you. All right, you guys. So after the commercial, we come back to the same scene again with him doing this pumping and all of that, talking about, yeah, and they were trying to be nice. Chris said, wow. Candace was like, where's that water? And Eddie was like, take that drink away from him. I'm like, everybody is laughing at you. And actually, it's not even funny to the point where they're not even laughing. They look just disgusted. And if Mia is not super drunk, how is she not seeing this? But basically, she says in her confessional or wherever, I just remember her saying it at some point, that she lets him be him and do him. So maybe she thinks it's cute, but he is creepy. He is giving all kind of creepy, cringy vibes. Ugh. All right, so next to arrive is Ascala and her husband, and as she's coming in, everybody's like, oh, and G is behind the bar asking Mia, who the fuck is that? And I'm like, ew. So they tell Skyla and her husband to go ahead and take a drink, and then it'll become normal. Like, you won't pay him that much attention. He was nice though. He gave her a hug and said, I heard so much about you. But as they were walking to the kitchen, he's behind her husband and he's like, you a big motherfucker. He is, but gee, Jesus. So it's so weird that Candace says, where's my room? And then Wendy says, you got to go figure out which room you want when later on they have assigned rooms. But anyway, her and the Skylar go upstairs. They're talking about how off the hook G is. And then downstairs, Eddie is like, Mia, you need to go check on G. And she's like, G is fine. So yeah, she thinks it's cute. So then just the weirdest thing ever. He brings her the phone and he's like, hey, babe, I got somebody who wants to talk to you. She's like, what's going on? Basically, it's the car dealer and he's buying her a G-Wagon. And he's like, everybody, listen to this, listen to this. And he ends up telling them that their anniversary, I guess 8th year anniversary is coming up and he's buying her a G-Wagon. but he wants everyone to be super impressed. And I'm like, who are you doing this for? Like, what are you doing this for? It's ridiculous. He is ridiculous. Y'all know that's my favorite word. But yeah, ugh. Ugh. And like I said, the whole time, they're just looking very awkward. This whole episode was filled with awkwardness. The entire episode. So he wants to give this big old speech while he's telling her what's going on with the car, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. He tells her to be quiet, and then he's like, because I don't get many chances to tell you to shut the fuck up. And everybody, once again, is looking dumbfounded. Like, did he really just say that? So in the confessional, Wendy is like, really? Did he really just say that to her? She says, if this is what's said in front of us, imagine what's being said behind closed doors. And then she takes a little drink because, yeah, I just can't imagine. He then turns to Chris and says, can I get a loan? And he's like, white guys are supposed to give good interest rates or whatever. You guys, he's just inappropriate. He's creepy and inappropriate. And I just want him off the screen. I really do. Like, Eddie is looking like, what the hell? Like, everybody is looking like, what is wrong with this guy? I feel like they know he's toe off, and they're just like feeling sorry for him because, like, he's an old man that is just out of control. So Wendy comes upstairs to find Ascala and Candace talking, and Candace is not making a whole lot of sense. She's saying that G reminds her of Michael and the fact that they married young women and they've already tried to be monogamous with one woman and have a wife, and now they are past that and beyond that. So basically she's saying that they're cheaters or whatever. I don't know that G said anything about cheating. Like, you don't know that. So I don't know what she was saying. But Wendy came up and she's like, what y'all talking about? So Candace lets Candace lets Wendy know, listen, we were just up here talking about your girl and G or whatever, and we can see it going totally left. And she's like, yeah, I don't want it to go left. And she's like, well, tell your girl to get him some water. And then we're back downstairs with G talking off the wall as usual. Y'all, this man drops the top to his water and almost fell over picking it up, and all the guys was looking at him, and the music was like boom, boom, boom. Bravo is so freaking shady. And yeah, the guys are just having it's laugh fest because of G. So back upstairs, the ladies are saying that something is just really off with their relationship. And Wendy is like, yeah, you think something is off because of the dynamic with G? And Candace is like, yeah, because he's more like a father. It's just weird. So Mia comes in the room and she's like, oh, y'all talking shit? And Wendy was like, yeah, we just talking about you. And Ascala says, did G tell you to shut the F up? And she's like, probably. And Ascala says, y'all talk to each other like that? Yeah, why? What's wrong? So Candace says, yeah, you can do that, but not in mixed company. She says, Chris and I do that all the time, but not in mixed company. And I'm like, you probably should have kept that out because it's still not cool that y'all do it, period. Like, don't talk to me no any kind of way. I don't care if it's in mixed company or not. Don't talk to me like that. So Candace, shh. So Wendy is explaining to Mia how she wants this trip to be kind of like a conduit to everybody's relationships and everything. And she says, just like the whole thing with Candace, and she says, I didn't tell them anything that you told me about your mom. And then they start talking about the little comments with the moms. Candace is like, listen, I said that because you came at me talking about my mom and you pretty much grilling my mom. So Mia says, as a CEO, I was just trying to find out who was in charge here. And I was connecting with your mom because I inspired to be like her. And Candace says, well, she wasn't found in a strip club, but okay. So downstairs with the guys, Chris is telling the guys, listen, the girls are going to have their fallouts and everything, but we're good. And he turns to G and he's like your wife and my wife. And G says, yeah, you think I care that your wife called me low budget? And I'm like, she didn't call you low budget. What the hell are you talking about? So upstairs, the ladies are still talking about the video shoot and calling it low budget. Mia is like, take it as constructive criticism. That's business. And Ascala is looking real irritated. And so, of course, she chimes in like, what do you mean business? Why is everything business? So they're just like talking over each other and going at it. So the ladies are going back and forth. Candace is telling her that G is a pimp that found her on the street or whatever. It's just real ridiculous. But she then says something else about her mom, or some kind of way moms got into it. And Mia's like, but you don't know my mom. And she's like, and you don't know mine either. You see how that works? And then as she says that, Wendy turns to Mia and she's like, are you okay? And Candace is like, why are you checking on her? She says, oh, I'm checking on her because I know how it is to be kind of ganged up on. And I guess she's saying that because Ascala and Candace were both talking to Mia. But if Mia can dish it, Mia got to be able to take it. So Candace says, nah, she had more than this on her at one time, and I came to her rescue. And then we do a flashback of Robin, Giselle, like everybody kind of jumping on Mia. And then Candace standing on the bar or on the counter saying, okay, 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 let's stop. So then Mia gets a call and she's like, it's my best friend. I need to take this. And Candace is like, you should take the call with your flawed ass. And she's like, God made you basic. Like Candace was going in, talking about her feet again. And I'm just like, Candace is unstoppable. That mouth, Candace, that mouth. So now they're all standing in the hallway, and Mia comes walking through on the phone, and she's like, yes, my beautiful rich friend. And she's like, unlike these broke bitches. And I'm like, how rude is that? How rude is that for real? And Candace says, your mom's a broke bitch. So wait, the fact that Candace keeps bringing up her mom, do y'all think she knows? Do y'all think somebody told her the situation with the mom? I feel like Giselle or Robin, somebody told, well, maybe not Robin, because Robin, I'm not even sure if I mentioned this, but when she was talking to Ashley in her kitchen, she was saying how she doesn't think Candace knows about the history about the mom or whatever. But I feel like maybe Giselle told her or something because she keeps bringing up that mama thing a lot. All right, so we're going to try to speed this up. Karen and them make it there. Wendy tells them that she has baskets for them with a whole bunch of black owned stuff, including her candle. And Karen is like, yay, we can both be in, I'm sure she said something better than Macy's, but something like that. Like they can do it together, girl power. And I'm like, yeah, right, with her one wick candle. You want to say it, Karen. So then we have room assignments, and she basically gives the people that were in the little cottage their first picks and everything. Candace ends up being last, and she's like, shade. And she's like, yeah, because basically you put us in the cottage. So after they talk about room assignments, they kind of break off or whatever, but you can hear Mia talking to somebody and saying how Candace is mean. And Candace says, I'm standing right here and I can hear you. So if you're going to call me mean, just invite me into the conversation. And she's like, well, then come over. And she's like, okay, well, then let's do this. So they go over, start arguing. Ascala says, Mia, I can't believe you called us broke bitches. And she's like, no, I didn't. And then, of course, the producers show that, yes, you did. Mia is such a liar. I swear, she's such a liar. So Candace says, okay, let's just talk about the elephant in the room and let's just face it. The real thing is that you need therapy. I'm like, Candace is so stupid. And she's like, because you have a problem with anyone that isn't where you are and you want to remind people. And then we have a scholar in the background saying classism. It's classism. And I'm like, yes, a scholar is not here for Mia. And that in turn is making me feel a Scala more than I was before. So I'm okay with her chiming in. But you guys, they go back and forth. They toss some salad, not even trying to be nasty or whatever. They literally was throwing salad at each other. Then the men were outside like, oh my God, they're throwing stuff. And once again, Candace was talking big shit. Y'all, I just wish she had the hands for real because she's like all up in this girl's face the same way. And I was on her team saying that, Monique should not have touched her. Shouldn't have. Jesus, shouldn't have is what I meant. No, should not have is also correct. Y'all ever say something and it don't sound right? Like you like, should not have. But no, that is correct as well. So no, Monique should not have touched her. But Candace's mouth, that's all I can say. And that was the one thing that I thought she did wrong last season too, was just her mouth. She's just so yippy, like a little puppy that just can't be quiet. So yeah, I don't think people should lay hands, but Candace be right in your face with that mouth. So whatever. We'll see what happens next week. But if you are still here, you are my real MVP, and I appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe. Thank you. Smooches.